Before the memes, before the tabloids, there was Queen Elizabeth II, a woman who ruled for 70 years with the calm of a chess master and the nerve of a war hero. Today, we're counting down the moments when the Queen didn't need drama, speeches, or headlines to prove she was quietly, unmistakably badass. Moment number 12, flying in the Concorde cockpit. Among world leaders, Queen Elizabeth II was unique for many reasons, including her quiet confidence at supersonic speeds. She was one of the few heads of state who occasionally flew right up front in the Concorde cockpit with the pilots. No entourage crowding the space, no cameras capturing a photo op, just the Queen, chatting calmly with the crew as the jet hurtled faster than the speed of sound. It was a small thing, but telling. For a monarch so often seen in formal settings, this simple curiosity revealed someone equally at ease in a cockpit at Mach 2 as in a palace ballroom. Moment number 10, facing protesters in Dublin, 2011. During her historic 2011 visit to the Republic of Ireland, the first by a British monarch in a century, Queen Elizabeth II stepped into a city lined with both admirers and angry protesters. Irish history with the British crown was heavy, and tensions were explosive, literally. Irish police found bombs planted in Dublin just days before her arrival, yet the Queen moved through Dublin with calm precision. At the Garden of Remembrance, honoring those who fought for Irish independence, she bowed her head in silence, a gesture that stunned even critics. Later, at the state dinner, she began her speech in flawless Irish, "A Uachtaráin, agus a shared, President and friends."
A Uachtaráin, agus a coisa.
That visit didn't erase centuries of history, but it softened edges no treaty ever could. Facing protest, she offered respect instead of retaliation. Moment number 7, showing up at Grenfell Tower after the fire. When the Grenfell Tower fire devastated London in 2017, killing dozens and displacing hundreds, many expected a formal palace statement. Instead, Queen Elizabeth appeared in person less than 24 hours later. No media buildup, no red carpet, just quiet arrival. She walked through the crowd, speaking to survivors, comforting exhausted firefighters, and listening to grieving families. Witnesses said she asked simple, direct questions. Were they getting help? Did they have somewhere safe to stay? Her visit wasn't about speeches or symbolism. It was about presence, showing people that the monarchy wasn't hiding behind gates while London burned. At 91 years old, she stood amid ash, sorrow, and chaos with the same calm dignity she carried in palaces. Sometimes leadership isn't loud, it's simply showing up when it matters most. Moment number 9, using her corgis as diplomats. Queen Elizabeth II didn't just love her corgis, she turned them into a diplomatic asset. When meeting foreign leaders, she occasionally let the dogs wander into the room, not as decoration, but as icebreakers. The corgis had a way of softening formalities, easing tension, and even revealing people's true personalities when protocol demanded composure. It was subtle, but brilliant. In an environment ruled by rigid etiquette, the Queen used her beloved pets to inject warmth and authenticity into conversations where every word was measured. The dogs disarmed guests, sparked small talk, and reminded even the most powerful figures that this was still a family home, not just a royal stage. But stay tuned, because when bombs fell and Britain shook, a teenage Princess Elizabeth proved royalty doesn't run. Moment number 8, refusing to leave rain-soaked public events. Most public figures run for cover the moment rain hits, but Queen Elizabeth treated bad weather like it didn't exist. During the torrential downpour at the 2001 Trooping the Colour, marking 50 years since she first rode in the parade, the Queen stood at attention alongside regiment after regiment under relentless rain. Over 1,400 soldiers, 200 horses, and 400 musicians marched past as water dripped from her coat, yet she never flinched or sought shelter. For the Queen, the crown wasn't about comfort. It was about keeping the promise she made at 21 that her whole life, whether long or short, would be devoted to serving her people.
I declare before you all that my whole life, whether it be long or short.
Even when nature itself tried to steal the show, she stayed steady, soaking wet at moments, but unwavering. That quiet dedication was her statement, duty before personal comfort. Moment 11, racing pigeons that once served in war. Beyond corgis and horses, Queen Elizabeth II had a lifelong passion for pigeon racing, a hobby she inherited from her grandfather, King George V. She maintained royal lofts at Sandringham, breeding and training champion birds that competed in prestigious races across Britain and Europe. But these weren't just sport birds. During World War II, the Royal Loft supplied pigeons to the National Pigeon Service, carrying coded messages across enemy lines when radio silence was vital. Some even won the Dickon Medal, the animal equivalent of the Victoria Cross, for their bravery. For a monarch often seen as reserved, pigeon racing revealed a surprising side: competitive, precise, and quietly badass. The queen whose birds once served king and country before returning to the skies for sport. Moment number 6, knighting Captain Tom Moore during COVID. In 2020, the world was in lockdown. Britain was losing thousands to COVID and morale was collapsing. Then came Captain Tom Moore, a 100-year-old veteran who raised millions for the NHS by walking laps in his garden. When the Queen heard about him, she didn't send a letter. She didn't make a phone call. She staged an in-person knighting ceremony at Windsor Castle, outdoors, and did it herself. At 94 years old, sword in hand, she honored him personally while Britain watched live on television. It wasn't just a medal, it was a message. The monarchy still stood, still cared, even in crisis. For a woman who rarely broke protocol, this moment felt different, like the Queen dropping tradition for humanity when the country needed it most. Moment number 5, standing alone at Prince Philip's funeral. April 17th, 2021. The pandemic had stripped Britain of gatherings, travel, even funerals. When Prince Philip died at 99, the Queen followed the same rules as everyone else, no exceptions. So, there she was at St. George's Chapel, the most famous widow in the world, sitting completely alone in her black mask while cameras broadcast her grief across the globe. No aides, no family beside her, no royal privilege bending public health laws. That single image, tiny, solitary, head bowed, hit harder than any speech or statement could. Queen Elizabeth had been married to Prince Philip for 73 years, yet obeyed the same restrictions ordinary people faced. It was devastating, dignified, and historic all at once. A monarch showing the nation how to endure loss with quiet strength. Next up, the 25-year-old who inherited an empire and ruled it longer than most nations survive. Stay tuned. Moment number 4, calling 1992 her annus horribilis. Monarchs are supposed to be above drama, yet 1992 nearly broke the royal family. Prince Andrew separated. Princess Anne divorced. Charles and Diana's marriage crumbled publicly. Then Windsor Castle, the Queen's own residence, caught fire. Most rulers would hide behind formality, issue sterile statements, and pretend the crown stayed untouched. Not Queen Elizabeth. At year's end, she gave a speech calling 1992 her annus horribilis, Latin for horrible year.
1992 is not a year on which I shall look back.
It acknowledged what everyone knew. The monarchy looked shaken, human, even fragile. Yet, by speaking it herself, she seized control of the narrative. The Queen didn't deny disaster. She named it, faced it, and then carried the crown forward, as if daring the world to doubt her resilience. Moment number 3, volunteering to pay income tax. For most of Britain's history, monarchs didn't pay taxes. Royal finances came from public funds, a centuries-old arrangement that survived into modern times. But by the early 1990s, with scandals swirling and recession biting, public criticism exploded over palace spending. Queen Elizabeth could have waited for Parliament to debate reforms or defended royal privilege as tradition. Instead, in 1992, she voluntarily agreed to start paying income tax and capital gains tax on her personal wealth. The first British monarch in history to do so by choice, not law. It was a stunning concession. Politicians didn't force her hand, protesters didn't corner her. She simply read the mood of the country and acted. Quietly, without drama, she cut centuries of royal entitlement down in one stroke. Moment number 2, refusing to evacuate during World War II bombings. When the Blitz ravaged London in the early 1940s, many expected the royal family to flee to safety abroad. After all, bombs don't care about crowns. But teenage Elizabeth, still a princess then, refused. She and her sister Margaret stayed at Windsor Castle throughout the war, even as German air raids destroyed neighborhoods across Britain. The Queen Mother famously said the children wouldn't leave without her. She wouldn't leave without the king, and the king would never leave at all. That stance mattered. It meant the royals faced the same dangers as ordinary citizens. While other nations watched their leaders hide, Britain saw its future queen live through the same fear and darkness as everyone else. No speeches, no drama. just a quiet, steady presence while the sky itself was falling. Moment number 1. Taking the throne at 25 and ruling for 70 years. Imagine this. You're 25 on a tour in Kenya when a message arrives. Your father, the king, has died. The crown is now yours. Overnight, Queen Elizabeth went from young wife and mother to leader of an empire spanning continents. No training could prepare her. Yet for 70 years, she carried the weight of monarch, diplomat, and symbol through wars, recessions, cultural revolutions, and scandals, without abdicating, without collapsing publicly, without faltering in duty. 13 prime ministers, 14 U.S. presidents, and 7 decades of global upheaval came and went. She outlasted them all. Her reign wasn't just long, it was steady, the kind that survives because it refuses to break. Becoming queen so young was a trial by fire. Staying queen that long was power in its quietest form.
It's a question of maturing into something that one's got used to doing.
And there you have it, 12 times. Queen Elizabeth II proved you don't need drama to be legendary. Which moment was your favorite? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and click over to our next video for more incredible stories like this.